Hello everyone and welcome to Azam Sharp Weekly. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a macOS menu bar app that will be able to display you the stock details. So let's go ahead and get started. For stocks, I have already created a particular API and that returns you stock information that consists of symbol, description, price, change, and historical prices. We'll only be using the symbol, description, and price. And the price is all random. So if I go ahead and refresh it, you can see the price is definitely changing. Okay. So we already have that hooked up. It's implemented in Node.js and it's hosted on Glitch. Let's go back. Now we can go ahead and start creating our macOS application. I'm going to select macOS app. Now you can select the name of your application that you want to build. So I'm just going to call it Stocks Menu Bar. And we're going to make sure that we are selecting SwiftUI. Swift is fine. Let's go ahead and select the destination. Great. I'm going to wait for it to complete. Okay. Now, the first thing that we need to do when we are building this application is we need to create a service. We also need to create some sort of a DTO object, like a model object that can model our response that we're returning back from the server that will consist of the symbol, description, and price. So let's go ahead and start with that. So I'm going to go ahead and create a different folder, models. And I'm going to go ahead and add a particular model, and I will call it stock. Okay. The stock model will be simply responsible for modeling what we are getting from the JSON response. Symbol, description, and price. We don't really care about the change and historical prices, so I'm just going to leave them out. So we'll start with the symbol. We will also have the description, which will be the name of the company. So it might be Google, Apple, whatever. And we can also have the price. Now you can put the price as decimal also. Currently, I'm just going to use double. But if you're doing any kind of addition, subtraction, and these kind of things, you should definitely use decimal because it does have higher precision. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and create services so that I can perform or make a call to the web service, to the API, and get back the result. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with web service. Okay, so our web service will be a basic class. I'm just going to go ahead and create a web service. We will start with get stocks. URL, you're going to send in the URL. It will be using the async and await feature. And it's going to return you an array of stocks. Now, I'm also going to create a custom error, which is a network error, and it will only have one response, which is invalid response. The first thing we need to do inside our get stocks is to call URL session.shared.data, passing in the URL, and that will return you a tuple, which will consist of the data and the response. If the response is 200, then we're good. If it's not, we're going to throw an error, call invalid response. That's the same exact error type we implemented earlier on. And finally, we're going to go ahead and decode it. So it will be JSON decoder.decode, and now we can go ahead and decode the stock or array of stocks, passing in the data. Perfect. So after we call get stocks, we will be able to get an array of stocks. Since we're using SwiftUI, we can also use the MVVM design pattern. So this means that we can go ahead and create our view models. I'm going to put my view models inside the view models group. I will add one view model and I will call it stock list view model. This particular view model will be responsible for providing the data to the stock list screen, which will display a list of stocks. So we'll say stock list view model, observable object, and we will have a particular function called populate stocks async function. We're going to make a call to our web service. So web service dot get stocks. We need to pass in the URL. Now I can put the URL over here, but what I would like to do is to arrange it in a different way, where I have a utility file or a utility group, and inside that I have a constants file. And inside the constants, I can just create some hard-coded URLs. There we go. So we have a structure called constant, which contains another structure called URLs, which contains a hard-coded latest stocks. Let's go back. Now, over here, when we are calling the get stocks, we can simply use our constants. So constants dot URLs dot latest stocks. Since the get stock function is an async function, we will have to use try and await, and we will get back stocks. Now these are the model stocks that you're getting back. We need to convert these model stocks to view models. We will also implement the catch and print out the error. Now I will go ahead and implement another structure called stock view model. Stock view model will be responsible for providing the data to the individual stocks displayed on the screen. Stock view model, in order to create that, you must pass in the stock model, and then it's going to return you the symbol, the price, and the description. Next, I'm going to go back to my stock list view model and create a property, a published property called stocks, which will be an array of stock view model. That's the view model that we want to expose to the view so that the view can access symbol, price, or description. We already have the DTO objects or models called stocks. I can map through them, and I can say stock view model.init. This is going to create an array of stock view model and assign it to the stocks. Now, keep in mind that this stocks property that we created is marked with publish. That means that any time you're going to set this property, you have to make sure that you are setting it on the main thread, and we are not. There are a couple of ways of setting it on the main thread. We can wrap this with dispatch queue.main.async, and that is going to make sure that we are assigning the stocks on the main thread, on the main queue. But we can also use the actors feature in our Swift language by simply saying main actor. We're using the property wrapper main actor on the class itself, which is the stock list view model. This basically means that any property or function which is contained inside the stock list view model will be performed on the main thread, which means that stocks will automatically be assigned on the main thread, and we don't have to wrap it in the dispatch main queue. Now the final thing we need to do is to make a call from our content view so that we can get all the stocks. Let's go ahead and jump onto the content view. Keeping in mind that we're trying to build a menu bar app and we haven't really configured anything related to the menu bar, we still have to do those things. But let's go ahead and jump onto the content view part. I'm going to go ahead and create an instance of the stock list view model. Now, if I simply go ahead and create an instance like this and try to build it, it gives me some sort of an error saying that since the stock list view model is marked with main actor, you cannot really assign it like this. So there are multiple ways that we can do. We can actually use a dependency, meaning if we are trying to initialize stock list view model, we can create an initializer where you will actually pass in that dependency. And then we can go ahead and assign it. This particular method is approved by the Apple team also, and they recommend that if you are trying to initialize a view that has a view model marked with main actor, you can use this approach. Now we have to go every single place, and we have to now pass in the stock list view model as a dependency to the content view. Let's go back and see where else we are doing the dependency right over here. So we need to pass in the dependency over here also. Perfect. Going back to our content view, let's see what the content view actually looks like on a macOS app. Keeping in mind that it's still a macOS app, it's not a menu bar app right now. Next thing we need to do is we need to display a list of items. So I'm going to go ahead and first wrap all of this inside a VStack so that I can go ahead and add a heading like stocks. Also a little bit of padding. Maybe even the VStack can have alignment for leading, so everything is assigned. And we can also set the frame with a particular width. This is up to you. I'm just going to set it to 300 by 300. Perfect. Next, I can go ahead and create a list. And the list will be based on an array of stock view model. So we're just going to pass stocks, and it will be identified by something unique, which is a symbol. We will get access to the stock. And let's go ahead and simply display the symbol of the stock for starting out. Eventually, we will try to display the price also. With our list, we still need to call one of the functions of the view model, which is populate stocks. Since populate stock is an async function, we have to mark with await. Having done all of that, let's go ahead and try to build it. And we will try to see that if it actually runs and gives us the information that we need or not. So I'm going to just go ahead and run this app right now. Keeping in mind that this app has nothing to do with menu bar right now, we will eventually get to that point later on. Okay, so a couple of different things. You can already see that it is failing. It's not really giving us a result. Not a big deal. Let's go back to our application settings, and we will go to signing and capabilities. In the signing and capabilities, make sure that the outgoing connection is checked. This will allow our app to communicate with the outside sources or resources, like invoking a JSON API. Now we will go back to our content view. Let's go ahead and refresh it. And there we go. We can actually see the stocks being printed out. We can make it better now by adding some sort of a symbol, description, and all those things. So instead of typing it out, I'm just going to copy paste something. Okay. We have a problem because we don't really have anything called format as currency. So that is something that I have to build it again. So let's go ahead and add extensions. We want to display the price as a currency. So that's why we are adding this extension on the double. I'm just going to go ahead and say double plus extensions. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy some code that I had. We're extending the double. We are adding a new function called format as currency. And then we're using the number formatter to format the double into a currency. And the reason we're using number formatter is that it is locale aware. So this means that if I'm running the same application in a non-US market, like if I am in Asia or if I am in European market, then I would not see the dollar sign. I would see euros, or I would see whatever my iPhone is set to show me, the current locale. So that's the beauty of using the number formatter. Let's go ahead and run it now. And hopefully it will display us some information. Let's go ahead and run the app. There we go. It looks actually pretty nice. Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Tesla, and all that. So we can see the stocks. But we wanted this to be a menu bar app, not like a normal macOS application. So that is something that we still need to fix. So how do we do that? We will go ahead and jump into the app file. In this app file, you can see that we'll have stock menu bar app, we have the window group, we have these things. What we want to do is to hook up to the app delegate. Now, there are many different ways of hooking up to app delegate. You can also use scene delegate events and all that stuff, but I'm just going to go ahead and create a class called app delegate, which will be inheriting from NS object and conforming to a couple of different delegates, which is NS application delegate and observable object. Now, even though we have created the app delegate, how can we tell our SwiftUI application that the app delegate file exists? Because usually app delegate files are mainly used in a UIKit application and not SwiftUI. So one of the ways we can do that is by simply adding NS application delegate adapter and passing in our delegate. So appdelegate.self private var app delegate. By adding this property wrapper, NS application delegate adapter, our SwiftUI application will automatically know about the app delegate. Now, since we know about app delegate, we can go ahead and use it. So I'm just going to go ahead and implement one of the delegate function, which is application did finish launching. Inside application did finish launching, we can configure our status item and we can configure our popover. So I'm going to go into the popover and create status item as well as popover. Next, I'm going to go ahead and initialize our status item. Status item equals to ns status bar dot system dot status item with width and passing in the ns status item dot variable width, meaning the width can actually change. Next up, we're going to refer to the button which is inside the status item. So we're going to go ahead and get access to the status button, which is status item dot button. We will unwrap it. And now we have to make sure that the image for the status button is set. So whatever the image that you're setting over here, which is simply the image from the San Francisco symbols, one of the images, that will be set to the image for your menu bar app. Next up, we need to do something when you actually click the status bar button. So status bar button dot action equals to selector, and we will call the function called toggle popover, which by the way doesn't exist. All right. We will also create the popover and set its width. We will create the popover. We will set the content size of the popover, which is the same exact size of our content view, if you remember correctly. And we will say transient, which basically means that if you click somewhere else, then the popover will be gone. And the most important thing about the popover is the content view controller. And since we are using a SwiftUI application, we can use NS hosting view controller or NS hosting controller with a root view, which in this case can be a content view. Now, the content view over here requires that you pass in the stock list view model. We can pass a stock list view model over here, or we can simply go ahead and create a property for stock list view model. Once we create the property of the stock list view model, we have to make sure that we initialize it. So inside the did finish launching, we can initialize our stock list view model. So we make only one copy of the stock list view model. Next, we can pass not the status item, but the stock list view model right there. All right. Self.stocklistViewModel. We also may need to make sure that application did finish launching is main actor. Since stockless view model is supposed to be only call on the main actor. We still have to implement toggle popover, so let's go ahead and do that. We will have a function toggle popover. Inside the toggle popover, we will again get the button. So if let button status item dot button. And if the popover is actually shown, meaning it is already available, then we can simply call popover.perform close, and we can close the popover. Else, if it's not shown, then we can show the popover relative to the button, relative to where the button is. And finally, one other thing we need to do is whenever you click on the button in the menu bar, we need to also make sure that we get the stocks again, which means that we need to call stockless view model.populate stocks. But populate stocks is an async function, so we have to call it with await. But toggle popover is not an async function, so we can't really await over here unless we use the task modifier. This means that every single time you are going to click on the menu bar button, it is going to call populate stocks and give you latest stocks. Let's go ahead and run the application again. Well, the first thing you notice is that our application still launch with this app, which we don't really want because this is a menu bar app, so we don't really want it to be launching separately. But you can also see that our application is right there in the menu bar also. So I can click on that and I can get the same exact stocks. Now let's go ahead and click on it again, and you can definitely see that the price is changing. $257 for Google, $295 for Google, $249. But the final thing is that we don't really want the app to be launching when we are running the app, meaning we don't really want a separate app to be launched. We just want the actual app launching without being, with the menu bar app launching without the actual app being launched. So we're going to go back to our target. We're going to select info. This is our info.plist, and we're going to add one more file, one more item over here, which is application is agent UI element, and we are going to go ahead and set it to yes. Let's go ahead and build it. And hopefully now when we run the app, it will only launch in the menu bar, and now we can actually see it in the menu bar. All right, so now it actually looks really nice. You can see the app is launching in the menu bar, and it is getting the data from a web service. Pretty cool, right? And there you have it. We have created a menu bar application which displays you the stocks coming from a JSON API using SwiftUI and MVVM design pattern. If you like this video and want to support my channel, then the best way would be to check out my courses on Udemy. You can see that I have a lot of different courses. I have a brand new course on Introduction to Server-Driven UI in iOS using Swift and SwiftUI. I also have courses on MVVM design pattern, SwiftUI with macOS, Mastering RX Swift. I have courses on test-driven development and even core data. So I have a lot of different courses that targets many different technologies in iOS development. So check out the YouTube description. You will find out all of my courses there. And once again, thank you so much for your support.